Hi, I am your host, Lyanette Talley, and you are listening to Virago 24/7. Virago is Latin for female warrior, and 24/7 is for all day, every day. Virago 24/7 is a weekly podcast that brings diverse women together to talk about life and our experiences in this world. We share our views on self-love, mental health, marriage, children, friendships, and really anything that needs to be talked about. Here, you will find everyday growth, everyday healing with everyday warriors. Just give me my space to move. 'Cause it's my thoughts, what I want, and I want what I want. Hello. We're back, and I have Miss Jenna Walston.
Hello there.
You are not a stranger to the podcast.
No, not at all.
But we have a new one. I love new faces and new voices. And so we have Linden Stewart.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hey, Linden.
We are here because we are talking about dating someone with a child or children. And I love this topic, because I come from a blended family and I've been a stepchild. I haven't had any stepchildren, but Jenna, you have experience with that.
Family, yes.
And so Miss Linden, how old are you, Linden, by the way?
I'm 24.
24.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice.
She needs
the day.
She needs to get some things off her chest because she's dating someone with a child. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what? Let's talk about this. This is important stuff.
Definitely.
How to date someone with a child is huge. That's honestly one of the biggest reasons why I started this podcast, because of my experience as being a stepchild and the do's and don'ts of, being a step parent. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I've never been a step parent, but I've been a stepchild, and I wish someone had talked to my parents before they started trying to raise us the way they did. So anyways, let's get into it, Linden. I'm going to let you do a lot of the talking because this is your story. So where do you want to start?
I guess just a little bit about my background. Obviously, I'm young. I don't have all the life experience in the world here. I'm not a parent. So dating someone with a child has been something that I've really been trying to navigate. And it's been a unique experience for me because I'm young. I'm still new to dating. I just got out of a 5-year relationship last year with, someone that I dated, all through college and stuff like that. And so I'm not even that experienced in the whole dating world either. I mean, of course, I would like to say that I have because I've been dating the same person for 5 years. But, this new relationship it's very different from my last relationship in many ways. And the biggest way being is that there's a child involved, and it's a child that I care about truly. And, I get along with him very well. And, so it's been hard, navigating the do's and don'ts, because I've never claimed that I know what I'm doing, because I don't. I'm young, I'm inexperienced, I'm not a parent. But also it's hard because where do you draw the line of, how you feel and what's appropriate to feel, like
boundaries.
Exactly. Yeah. And I do want boundaries, because even though I'm not a mother, I try to put myself in my boyfriend's ex's shoes all the time. And I'm like, how would I feel? How would I feel? And the biggest thing that I've been trying to navigate is the respect of it all. Mm-hmm. I want to respect her. I want her to respect me. I want her to respect our relationship. I want to respect her relationship with her child. Mm-hmm. And, I just been.
So let's start at the beginning. So how's the child? How long have you been dating? How long have they been broken up? Let's
give us the good stuff.
We need the foundation. Let's lay the foundation before we get into the details of it all.
Sure. So we've been dating since August of last year. The child just turned 3 a few weeks ago. I met him probably in October of last year. So we'd been dating for a few months, but when I met the child.
Okay.
And then, sorry, what were the other questions?
So
I got a question.
Yeah.
When you met him, did you know immediately that he had a child, or did you just?
Oh yeah, I knew on even before our first date that he had a child. He posts about his son, on social media.
Okay.
I obviously, because I was in criminal law for so long, I definitely do my fair share of stalking before I go on dates.
So you knew everything.
We call that research.
Yeah.
It's healthy research. So I
Stalking is for the crazies. This is research.
I did my healthy research.
Yeah.
So I did know about the child, and we talked about his son on the first date. And so I knew, well, he definitely wasn't trying to hide
Okay, good.
the son. And he did tell me on the first date too that the ex was still obviously in the picture and that they were working on the custody agreement currently. And yeah.
Okay.
And at the time you met him, he had custody of his child every other week?
So it's kind of been, because she has all the paternal rights, it's kind of been what she says goes.
Okay.
And so it's kind of just on a week by week basis. Which,
And you interact with the child when the child's there?
yes. So after I met the child, yeah, I definitely interact. I play with him as much as I can, because I want him to have fun, while he's there. And I never want my boyfriend or the child to think that I'm neglecting, either of them. And so
You live with your boyfriend?
no, we don't live together,
Okay.
but I am there a lot because it's close to my work.
Okay.
And so it makes sense for me to be there a lot.
So, and they were married, not married?
They were not married. They were together for almost 2 years total from the time that they started dating to when they broke up after the child was born.
So how long were they separated before you two started dating?
Almost a year.
Almost a year. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the baby is a child. It's a little child.
It's 3.
Yeah. So to me, that's a blessing in disguise, because I was just speaking with someone today about whether you remember your mother and father being together and what an impact that would make later on in life. And what he was telling me was basically he never knew his dad, and that was always very hurtful, as you could imagine. However, one of his best buddies who had his dad and wished he never knew him.
Yeah.
It's all perspective, right?
It's all perspective is what I'm saying. So to me, I know when my parents divorced, if you asked, my mom, she would say 1. If you asked my dad, he would say 2. For some reason, they can't ever agree.
Well, you were young and you don't remember.
And so were they.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know. I'm grateful that I don't remember my parents being together, because it wasn't hard for me.
Yeah.
My kids remember. They went through it. They experienced it. And I think it's much harder the older you are. So I think there's one positive thing is it's a young child.
Yeah.
And could view you someday as a very healthy role model. So that's
a good point. So piggybacking on that, because my parents were very young when they had my brother and I, and then also very young when they divorced. So I don't remember them being together. However, what I do remember is the people that they chose after that. That
oh my goodness,
is where my trigger lies. It's not that they were divorced. It's just the people that were in our lives after that is when that's tricky, because
you were jumping into a huge role.
Yeah, definitely.
And I hate to say that, but it is a huge, you can really impact if you, I know it hasn't been a long time, but if you guys are thinking that this is going to be a long-term relationship,
well, I would think so. If she's
hold
hanging out with a
on.
child.
I know you got to hold on. It's a roller coaster. It's a ride. And like I said, I've never been a step parent, but I was a stepchild, and I will 1,000% say I wish things would have been different.
Yeah. When I first, met the child, I was taking it very seriously because although I'm not, I don't have divorced parents, I've never really been around divorced parents. My best friend growing up did have divorced parents. So I guess I could say I was around them, and she was navigating her dad having, girlfriends and stuff like that. And I never wanted to be that. So we never showed affection around the child for a while because I wanted, I didn't want him to necessarily see that side of me until my boyfriend and I were dating longer, because I'm taking this very seriously, and I know how much it can affect a child. Not from my own personal experience, but I studied psychology, in college. I know about at least a little bit about child psychology. So I know how important it is, and I want nothing but to respect everyone's boundaries involved. And I never want to be in the middle of anything. I'm not on, like I had said, this to my boyfriend the other day. I'm like, I'm not on anyone's team besides the child's team, because I want what's best for him. It doesn't matter about my input. you guys will decide. You're his parents. You know what's best. And I only want to respect that. I'm not here to tell you what to do or say that I know better or even give my input at all. I just want what's best. And so, meeting him was a big deal for me. And the more that we've dated, I can definitely see this lasting, like this being it for me. He's, everything I've ever wanted. And I didn't know that I wanted someone with a kid. Granted, when I first started dating, I didn't know, just because I've never experienced this, like how it was going to be and what it was going to be like. And I'm not going to lie, it's been really hard. And it's not been easy for me. One, because I'm inexperienced with dating and I've this first time being in this situation. So, but I definitely say he's worth it. So that makes it easier for me, because I'm just like, this is not going to be like this forever. There's not going to be all this conflict forever. It's going to be resolved. Hopefully all parties involved will be less stressed, because you can tell tensions are high. And
so it's not a good relationship right now.
Not right now, no. Which I hate, because I just want what's best for everyone. And I sometimes feel like the ex sees me as a threat, and I never wanted to come off that way ever. I never wanted to her to think I'm trying to take her place or anything like that. I'm just here as a support for everyone involved, So it's been hard, but it's definitely worth it at the end of the day. So.
Well, I've been in both roles, so that's what I find very interesting.
What you got to say, Jenna? Because you're quiet over there. I know you're.
She's processing.
You have some things to say. I know you do.
Well, first off, I know and love and adore Linden. So let's just put that up front. This is not a stranger to me. Mm-hmm. I look at Linden as the sweet little girl that I met when she was
8, 9, 10.
Yeah. So my heart is also protective of her. Mm-hmm. Not all experiences are bad, but some are. And nobody wants to take off the rose-colored glasses when they should be taken off. But I'm a little scorned in my day right now. Because some of my best years were spent with James. Some of my best times were spent with my stepson. Mm-hmm. I remember, as I'm hearing you talk, I was just daydreaming about how much I miss my stepson, and how enamored I was by James and his parenting skills. Mm-hmm. But now I have 3 children with him, and I'm not so enamored with his parenting skills.
Yeah.
So, like I just said, I'm scorned, and I don't want to indulge too much, but I do know, after having children of my own, I could be one hell of a parent 3 weekends a month.
Yeah.
Parenting is much more than that. Mm-hmm. And we'll leave my stuff there. But what I'm telling you is you're stepping into a huge role. Mm-hmm. And I, too, love justice. And I used to do word searches for him on Mother's Day. Like, what are your mom's favorite things? What are your favorite things you do with her? And always made it about her. Mm-hmm. He even told me one time that somebody thought I was his mom, and he didn't mind people thinking that I was his mom. And he pulled me in even closer. Like, I loved being a stepmom, or the idea of it. I was just a girlfriend at the time. And it was challenging with, his mom. I don't think she viewed me as a threat. I think she viewed it as, why can't my son have you all to himself? He never sees you, and he deserves that time. So now that I'm in this position, I understand it more. It's not that you're a threat. It's that, and I'm speaking for me, this is only my story and my feelings, not yours or anybody else's. So let's make that very clear. So when I would show up at James's house on the weekends and Justice would be there, I would show up with the food and the puppy, and I brought the fun, and I made it an enjoyable atmosphere when he was with his dad. Now in hindsight, I see that Alex just really wanted her son to have him all to himself, because it was so short-lived. I
back that up.
Yeah.
I back that up because I wish I had that with my dad. Like there was never that one-on-one time because she had kids and then they lived together. It was like a quick relationship and then they got married, but she brought kids into the relationship as well. And there was never special time.
And I remember one time,
and that's so important. Like, why do they all have to be here?
Right.
Why does it have to be a group thing?
Dad.
Yeah. I'm like, why can't I connect? Yeah.
Yeah. I remember just wanting my dad. Just wanting my dad. And I, at one point, was really mean to my stepmom because she was always there. Well, heck, they had another family. Where was she going to be?
I know, but listen, in our family with our biological kids, there's one-on-one time.
Yeah.
Why can't that be the same with blended families? Oh, because then there's egos and jealousy involved.
Oh my goodness
when you have biological kids, there's none of that because we what's wrong with one-on-one time?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
The thing right now at our kids' ages, especially, the one-on-one time has been so imperative because they're all going through hormonal changes. They're all going through home changes. They're all going through brain spurts that are huge, turning into young adults.
Yeah.
So I honor my alone time with my children. And my children, they keep track of like, hey, it's my day to have mom. Like, it's my day.
And that's okay.
I make more of an impact. And not only that, they make more of an impact on me. Every time I spend one-on-one time with my children, I learn more about them. I'm not there to control them or get them to do this or do that. I'm there to understand it more so I can facilitate peace and success.
Yeah.
You know? And when somebody else is in the picture at that age and that time when you needed your dad and only your dad, everybody else was pecking away at your time.
Yeah.
And all a kid wants are their parents.
Yeah.
A nice step parent, but they don't even want you either.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. And that's how I felt.
She could have been, what is it? You know, who was the one who made curtains? Dresses out of curtains.
Oh, Mary Poppins?
Yeah, Mary Poppins? No.
But we'll go with her. The Sound of Music.
Yes.
You know, where she brought all the kids together. And, you know, they could be that, but they still want their mom.
Yes.
That's the hardest thing about being a step parent, I think, is that you're never going to be. You're never going to.
No matter how much I try, I'm never going to be his real mom, and that's okay. I never, I don't
think that's what I'm. That's what I'm saying. I think you're just never gonna. You're never going to be able to understand it.
Yeah.
Until you're in it.
Yeah.
With everything in life.
Of course, yeah.
And the thing I love about you and watching you grow is every single time you come up with a confrontation or something, you seek help.
Yeah.
You seek wisdom. It's just a beautiful thing to me. To watch, like you're here right now saying, I don't know what to do, but I love this man and I love this child and I want this to work.
Definitely.
Man, maybe if I sat down with some women when I was with James, that I could have facilitated a better support system for him and for Justice and for Justice's mom, which now is a great support system for me when I need it. I can reach out to her.
And going back to what you were saying, like you were not always nice to your stepmom. I know for a fact that I wasn't always nice to my stepmom. I was a brat. But
I loved my stepmom. Joni, you did a great job. I love you.
But there's a reason behind that, like why they being a brat? Let's find out. No, it's you're labeled a brat, and I don't really. And then you kind of push to the side because you're difficult. I will admit. As a child, it was very intense and difficult, not lovable. I shouldn't say not lovable, but I understand
you would be
that.
One that they'd say she's a tough one to love.
Yes, but it's like, well, why? Let's find out. But that was never, I guess, a priority. I don't know. I get very sensitive about that as the stepchild. So always, okay. So my advice to you, being a stepchild. Let them have one-on-one time. You don't always have to insert yourself in their relationship.
Definitely.
Like, it doesn't have to be a group effort all the time.
Definitely.
Like, you go enjoy your time, have fun.
Oh, for sure.
I don't need to be involved in every minute thing.
Yeah.
Especially when you're not married. When you get married, obviously you're living together. It's a little different thing. But as the girlfriend right now, you don't.
And he has to learn how to parent on his own.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I will say, since him and his ex broke up, I'm the only girl he's brought around his son. So he did have a good chunk of time of just him and his son. at home together and doing things together. And I mean, he's a fantastic parent. And so he had a lot of time and still now to this day, I'm not over there all the time. And I definitely make sure, because I know how important that is. I mean, that's important for anyone in any relationship, even if there's no kid involved, having that alone time.
You're so right.
And so, especially with a kid involved, I know how important that is. I'm not trying to be
so smart, Linden.
Up the ass.
Seriously, 24.
Linden, you don't need us.
Come on.
This is just a juicy conversation
can we
to
ask
have.
you for advice next?
I know, right?
So I came to you guys because I have never been one to claim that I know everything. I like to think of myself as a very educated young woman, but definitely not, especially life-wise. I might be book smart, but I mean, none of us know it all, And so, especially me being so young and it's not like I was a stepchild. I've never really been around stepchildren or step parents or, so I'm so new to all of this, and I care so much about this situation that I want to do what's right, because not only does the child deserve that, but so does my boyfriend. He deserves, I want to make this work and I want to do everything. These are still the early stages. I want to make sure that I do everything to set this up for success so that it works and that there's no more stress. I mean, there's always going to be some stress.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this is life, whatever. But I want there to be a lot less stress than there is right now, because even though I don't know his ex personally, I can't imagine as a mother what she's going through. And I want her to know that I'm on her team. I'm on the child's team. And I only want what's best for the child. Even if that doesn't necessarily involve me, I just want, her to know that I support and that I'm here to help if I can, and I just want.
I think though, because it's so new, it hasn't been like years removed. It's still, in my mind, it's still kind of fresh.
That when she was saying like not bring somebody else in, I'm like, well, it's kind of quick for just you in my eyes.
Yeah, it hasn't been that long, and so there's I don't feel that there's anything you can say to the mom.
Yeah.
To make anything smooth right now. There's nothing you can say.
Her hormones are still balanced.
Even if you think, oh, I said it nicely, or I said, I don't think she wants to hear from you right now.
No,
so I would just not even try.
She's
right
not
now.
in a winning situation on that end.
You're not.
Yeah, and
I would
I'm
let it
just
go
so-
for the moment until time passes.
I'm conflict averse and I like to be at peace. And so I, had reached out to her, just kind of simply saying what I've been saying, that I'm not here to try to take anything from her. Like, I really care about her child. I want what's best. I will never step on her toes as a mother. I respect her. I'm not a mother myself. I don't know what I'm doing. I just want to help. And, I just tried to extend the olive branch.
Yeah. And I think that's it.
Yeah. Oh no. And
don't say any more after that.
Oh no.
Because I'm trying to put myself in her shoes, which, like I said, I've never been in those shoes before. I brought a child into my relationship, into my marriage. That's different.
Yeah.
But I could imagine if something happened between Philip and I, and then this new girl is trying to give me an olive branch after a year of not. I'd be like, get out my face, with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying anything about you, but I'm just, that's what most moms would think.
Oh, of course. And
like, you're in that boat now, Jenna.
Pass.
Okay. I would be like, I'm not interested right now.
I'm not interested right now.
I need to heal. I'm not healed. There's a lot that's happened, and I don't really need your input right now.
And, she emailed me back, wanting to talk about stuff that I don't want to talk about. Like, I don't want to talk about her past relationship with my boyfriend. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I just want her to know that I wish her I want the best for all parties involved. And again, maybe I opened my mouth too much. But I just wanted her to know.
Never
you
say
just
that
want
again.
you just want to express yourself, and that's okay. And I'm not saying not to. I'm just trying.
I also understand her reaction. Yeah. And like, I didn't expect her to be my friend. Like, that wasn't my goal.
It would be so nice if she was, though.
Yeah. It would make things easier. Yes.
So Linden and I are a lot, like, you always pick on me because you're like, positive painting with Patty. Jenna always on the bright side. Yeah. Linden and I are for real. Like, I don't want to talk about James's situation.
Yeah.
We're not legally divorced. And that's enough said right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody should move on when you're still legally married.
Yeah.
But Linden and I are the type that'll be like, so if she is around, I hope she's really nice and I hope she's good with the kids and I can be her friend and we can all go on vacation.
Yeah.
Bump that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Positive Painting with Patty has gotten a reality check.
She's over. The show's canceled.
No, the show is not canceled.
Jenna came to the dark side, to my side, critical, analytical, just apprehensive. Come to my side.
I'm just a little scorned.
Because that's my personality. I'm like,
Right. But in all reality, my number one thing that I talk to James about now is you need to figure out how to do this for the kids' sake, because it ain't about me.
Yeah.
My eyes are wide open. I see. And I told Lyanette the other night, we were laughing so hard because she gets, as you can tell, very upset about my stuff. It's personal to her.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
We've worked through this together.
Very passionate. That's the word.
Very.
Yes, and she does get very passionate. But I was telling her, the best thing to do right now? Get some popcorn. I said, I'm going to put some extra butter on that. I'm going to throw in some M&Ms. I'm just going to watch this shit go down.
Yeah.
Because that's all I can do.
You know why I get passionate? Because I feel like adults and their conflict and their issues affect the kids,
Definitely.
And so when it affects the kids and the adults aren't understanding how to handle conflict in a healthy way, a smart way, whatever.
A productive way.
Yeah. It just screws up the kids. And then you're like me, 40-something years old, trying to figure shit out. And so I'm very, very passionate about the children.
Yes.
Of
And
the world.
my children.
And so that's why I get upset.
And you're right on the money, because it's not affecting me anymore. I'm ready to get some popcorn and watch the show go down.
Yeah.
Like I'm not invested anymore.
Yeah.
Emotionally. Yeah. And that feels so empowering, because you all know how emotionally invested I was. However, don't fuck with my kids.
Yeah.
And I am a mama bear, because I am tired of the emotional damage we have done with our dysfunctional, toxic marriage, or whatever you want to label it. It wasn't healthy for he nor I. It was both ways.
Yeah.
So now that you've done this damage to your kids, so they're not sitting here in these places saying this and that and this and that. No, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's put it out on the table.
Yeah.
But that requires honesty. That requires being truthful.
And not everyone is.
And not everybody's in that party right now.
Yeah.
We're not on the same path. We're not on the same growth.
My only concern right now is my children. And I know you all will say, what about you? What about you? Guess what? It's not about me right now.
Well, I feel like you're in the process. You're working on it. It is about you in a sense, because you're.
Me.
Yeah,
This
that's what I'm
is
saying.
me.
You're working on it so that you are better for your children.
Yeah,
So I think it goes hand in hand.
Exactly, but people don't see that, because I'm so passionate about kids and people and emotions and all of that, and taking away the stigma of men's mental health. That is what I'm passionate about. Those are the things we talk about. But what I'm saying is, like, to somebody else, like, I should have already moved on. Why am I still hung up on this? Or, those types of things.
I feel like you need to close a door before you move on. Your door has not closed yet.
Yes, because I'm still married.
I know. And
my kids are watching. We are role models.
I just think with Linden, at this point, you just need to follow your boyfriend's lead.
Yeah, for sure.
You need to be like supporting, but kind of like a
From
silent partner right now.
Yeah.
You need to be like the coach behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
you get to come in when it's appropriate.
Yeah. And I mean, really, my only goal at this point is just to make sure that, that he gets through this, and, not saying this from a motherly standpoint, because again, I'm not a mother, I'm not claiming to be the child's mother, but I just want what's best for him, and whatever that is, whatever that looks like, I'm going to be supportive of whatever the parents say. Like, that's what I want for them, because I know that if, my boyfriend's son is happy, in turn, he will be happy. And I know that he sees the effects on this little boy that this is having. And it just, it's just like not good for anyone involved,
What is his background? Parents? Are they
His
together?
parents are married. Yeah, they're married still. They've been married for like 30 years, 32 years, 31 years. They're from Brazil.
Okay.
He came here when he was 20. He's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach. So he coaches at a gym, and he was also MMA fighter, professional MMA fighter, and then he does boxing. So he came here in hopes to do that, and then kind of he tore his ACL, and kind of just that dream kind of died. So I mean, but he's still young; he could still do it. But,
Okay.
So,
What a good fit for you.
yeah, no, we're both definitely into the whole fitness world. I do jiu-jitsu myself, so we definitely.
Didn't you do weight training too? Like weightlifting?
Girl.
I love that because I love weights.
Tell your story about your
I
weight
could do
training.
weights. Yeah.
So I used to do Olympic weightlifting when I was younger. I started when I was about 15. I did that for a few years. Of course, I'm always injured. I don't know why I get all these injuries.
Because you pushed yourself.
I pushed myself too hard. But my last and final injury, what that kind of ended my career, is I was out of the Olympic Training Center. Which is it starts as a cool story and then it ends very sadly. I was out of the Olympic Training Center, I was like training with all my friends who are trying out for the team, and I fell and broke my wrist. And I tripped over my own feet. I don't even have a good cool story.
Really?
I was like, I was lifting 500 pounds. No, I tripped over
Isn't
my
that the
own
worst? So I CrossFit and I was doing wall balls on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
And I went down and from the squat, or I was coming up from the squat and hurt my back.
Oh my gosh.
Like this was just this past Saturday, and so I was drugged up all weekend. But I'm like, I wish I was like deadlifting like 200 pounds or something. Not doing it. How did you hurt your back? Just doing one little simple wall ball.
Yeah. So
yeah. Oh, you poor little thing. So that was it after that.
Yeah, that kind of ended my weightlifting career.
Okay.
And then I was going to go to college for it, but that kind of ended that because this happened my junior year, and my wrist was literally broken for like a year and a half. I'm not even kidding.
Really?
Yes, because I broke my scaphoid, which is like the hardest bone to heal in your whole body. We waited to see if it would grow back. The bone started to die. I had to have surgery. I had to get a bone stimulator. Blah, blah, blah. It was like this.
And
long
so it was by the time it's healed and you're kind of done.
So since then, I've just been doing CrossFit and jiu-jitsu. And that's how my my current boyfriend and I met, is just through friends, through CrossFit and jiu-jitsu and MMA. So, but he's really great. He's a really good guy. I'm very fortunate for sure. He's met my family. They adore him. They love him so much. He's definitely
so basically, we just need to figure out.
Yeah.
We like I'm in it.
We are all in this together.
We need to figure out the relationship with the mom and the child.
Well, I'll tell you, she was our sitter.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
She is great with
If there was anybody, and I always will say,
she's watched my children too. So.
Yeah.
So it's.
Yeah. So like if to the mom out there, you couldn't have a better woman in your child's life. Like for real. And that's something to think about with all of this.
And I think it's just healing process. Maybe she's not healed from the breakup.
Definitely not healed.
Because if you're angry,
together.
If you're angry, it's because you're not, you're still trying to figure things out within yourself.
Anger is, what do they say? Hurt's best friend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
To hear more amazing female warrior stories, hit that subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating. We would truly appreciate the love. Now back to our show. I want to read, so I posed the question knowing that we were going to do the show, and I posed the question on my face group page. If you want to be a part of the page, Virago 24/7 on Facebook and Virago 24_7 on Instagram. So people gave their opinions and their insights. So I just wanted to read a few and then we can just chat about what we think. So the first one was, and I don't know, I'll just keep people anonymous. I don't know if people want their names out there. We'll figure that out later, but I'll just keep everyone anonymous. But this one said, I had this happen when I was in my 20s. My boyfriend was newly divorced and had kids. Rule number 1, never talk bad about the other parent. Rule number 2, I was not one of the parents, but they still needed to show respect. I never pushed the kids to do anything they did not want to do, and I tried to support them. We would cook together or go to events together. This all seemed to work, and we had a good relationship. It was hard on them when the relationship ended.
Ooh.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Ow.
And that's what I was saying. I'm like, what do you do when it's over? Like,
Yeah, I know it's tough. And I can tell that the mom, and like, I'm not saying that she's wrong at all, She doesn't think our relationship's real, and I don't really think respects it, which is fine. You know, I'm not expecting her to have the utmost respect for me right now. Like, I get it. She's still hurting. She's healing. And I want to respect her. But I just can tell she doesn't take our relationship seriously, and she thinks it's going to end. So that's probably why she's so protective and defensive, is because
like, this is not going to last.
Exactly.
And I don't want my child around that.
Which I'm trying to take myself out of my own shoes and put myself in everyone else's shoes and say, okay, like, I can understand why she feels that way. And, you know, maybe reaching out wasn't a good idea, but I think so.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it was a bad idea. I'm just saying that if she didn't receive it well, then that's okay.
Yeah.
You just let it be, because sometimes we just have that urge just to get something off our chest, and we just have to do it, and we just have to do it. Yeah. But then if she doesn't receive it well, then don't take offense. Yeah. Just, it's not the right time right now. Yeah.
And I didn't. I mean, I didn't take offense. I just wanted to say my piece, and however she received it was up to her. I just wanted to know for myself morally that I want her to know how much I care and how much I do respect her, and how I can definitely see this like lasting, you know, and that I just, you know, want to be on good terms with her as much as possible. You know, that's kind of really where I was coming from.
I mean, it might take, I'll have to ask my mom, but my mom and my stepmom, you know, I don't think they were the best of friends when I was
not expecting to be
as I was getting, but now at, you know, certain events, they both are smokers. Yeah. And you'll see them, you know, if they're at the same event together, you'll see them smoking together and having conversations. So, you know, it can be cordial eventually.
Definitely.
Because I know it didn't start.
That way.
And I'm going to have my mom on the show, and she will.
Oh, I can't wait to hear.
She will tell her whole story, because she has a fascinating just life.
Yes, she does.
And it's sad. And I don't know how she's made it to 62 years old, because it's been a sad, you know, there's been ups and downs. But yeah, with her and my stepmom, you know, it's cordial now. But I think it took a long time to get there, because time had to pass for everyone to heal.
Time heals all wounds, definitely. Yeah. And I'm, you know, I'm not rushing her or anything like that. I just want her to know that my intentions are pure, and that's really all I can tell her at this point. Because however she receives it and how she reacts is completely up to her. I can just control my part of the situation, and I want just her to know that I have the best intentions. Yeah. I respect her. I respect him. I respect the child. That's all I can say, you know? So.
All right. Next, this person says, if possible, maintain a cordial relationship with the other parent, which that's what we were just talking about. If there is no tension with the children's mom, which there is in this scenario, they won't feel like you're liking you is a betrayal. Never talk about the other parent negatively, which is what the other person said. If you think they are terrible, find something nice to say about them often. Do not parent them. Let their parents do that. Do activities with them that they like, even if you don't. Yeah. So do not parent them. I think that is good if you're the girlfriend. I think once you're married, that might be a little different. Like you kind of have to parent. Yeah. Because coming into a relationship with a child, I was so protective of my daughter. Definitely. And a lot of our arguments was me like being overly protective, like, you're not allowed to discipline her. You're not allowed to. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, I had to think about it. I'm like, I want my husband to love her like it's his child. Yeah. So that involves also disciplining too. Yeah. So I had to I had to let go of that, where I can't have one or the other. It has to be both. Yeah. So that was really hard. It took me some time.
Understandably.
But I think also I'm like, okay, he loves her. I had to see that he could do both, because growing up, there was not always balance. And then even my step siblings can attest to that. My dad wasn't always like this mushy, lovey-dovey person, and it could be too much discipline and not enough love. And I think we're all scarred a little bit. And they never talked poorly about my mother, but they would talk poorly about my step siblings' fathers. And that was not good. Yeah. That was very detrimental to them. Oh, for sure. Because they would do it in front of them. Oh, yeah. No. Because their dads weren't stepping up to the plate. But yeah, they knew that. They didn't need to hear from my dad and their mom that their dads were, crap or whatever they used to say about them.
No, definitely.
So don't say anything bad about her.
No.
Just say it to yourself or say it in private. So
I definitely knew that from the start. No matter how I feel, nobody needs to know besides me. So
Yeah. And then this one says, remember your role is to be a date to a parent, not a parent. So I guess she's saying that you're his person.
Definitely.
If things progress, then your role should progress and change. So that's what we were just saying. Like as a girlfriend.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Just keep it limited. And then, and then when you guys get married, then your role changes.
Yeah. And I mean, from the beginning, I tried to stay out of it, but at some point it was affecting him so much, my boyfriend meaning. And it was just like, because I care about him so much and I just want peace, really, I felt the need and the drive. I was like, I have to say something. So I did. And, so I, again, not trying to be a parent, not trying to pretend like I'm a parent.
Yeah.
Just want peace. That's really it, So
you may not get peace right now, though, Linden.
I know.
We want things when we want them.
We're all searching for
We want things when we want them, but they're not going to happen right away.
Oh,
so
no, for sure. Yeah.
So in wanting that, you might want to push it too quickly, and it's just not going to happen, and you're going to get frustrated.
Yeah. I mean, I worked in law for 6 years. I granted, I did criminal defense, which is a little different, but there was a family law office that shared a big office with us, and I was right next to their legal assistant. We'd talk all the time. So while I wasn't a family law paralegal, I know enough about family law, and I know nothing. I mean, same thing with criminal defense. Everything takes forever in court, everything. And in life too, like you said, we always want something when we can't have it. Nothing happens quickly.
Yeah.
So true.
And I know that, and I keep trying to tell myself that it's so much harder though when you're living it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I have so much sympathy for, you, Jenna, and everyone that's even been involved in any type of family law case, whether it be divorce, child custody, anything like that. Like, oh my gosh, this shit sucks.
Yeah.
Like it just sucks. And I hate it. And while I don't think anything should necessarily, like anything that's worth fighting for is, doesn't happen overnight. But at the same time, like there is such important lives at stake, like Jenna, like your kids. I just wish it could just be like, and it's over. Snap of the fingers and it's over.
I just think, honestly, just on talking to you, Linden, you're 24. You seem so mature and like you get it. Like for real, my parents were so young. Like they were that same age with all these little kids running around like in their 20s. They were not as mature as you, like not at all.
There's reasons.
And I'm not trying to blame, and I'm learning when I'm telling my story that I'm not blaming the parents because they only did what they could do with the tools that they have. Yeah. So I understand that, but they were your age and they were not as level-headed as you. So I give you all the flowers and all the props for that. Like for real. Like that's huge. Yeah. They were just running around with these kids trying to be parents and not knowing what the hell they were doing. Yeah.
But we also know her mom, and she's pretty darn fabulous.
Oh yeah. It's so funny.
A heck of a job.
Well, when I'm going to do a show. Well, I can talk about it right now. When I say parents, it's weird because I have my mom, and then my dad and my stepmom. When I say parents, that's my dad and my stepmom. Yeah. And then when I want to talk about my mom, I say my mom. Yeah. So I try to differentiate. When I say parents, she's not clumped into that. We'll talk about it another time. It's different. Yeah. So they didn't know what they were doing. And my mom didn't either, but I'm not like mentally scarred by her.
With your first kid, does anybody know?
Well, and also the age too. Yeah.
Well, you have compassion and empathy for what her reasons are or whatever could have hurt you.
I also think, and I've said this before to people, it's different because she acknowledges it. She has apologized for it. She owns her stuff. Yeah. And that makes a huge difference. It does. Because you see them as human and you see them as like, wow, they get it. They get that everything wasn't rosy. They get my feelings and that if they could have done something different, they would have. That is what brings me peace. And that's why I am not affected emotionally by that part of my life. My mom has always owned her shit, if we want to say it like that. Yeah. And she's apologized for her shit. And that is so much easier as a child to let it go and move on. Look. It makes it when a parent is like, I've done nothing wrong, or I know I've done shitty stuff.
Yeah.
But I've also done these wonderful things for you. It's like one doesn't offset the other. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I could be shitty because I did these good things over here. So she owned her shit. And so I'm not as like, woe is me for the things that happened on that side.
Anyone who takes accountability, you have a newfound respect for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Accountability is very important. And everyone's shit stinks, so. You know?
Dear. That is so true. So true.
I admire people that can just own it. Yeah. Whether it's with a child or with
exactly in any
grown up to grown up,
yeah.
And I have a very hard time with respecting people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You know, I mean, we're all human. We all make mistakes. It's literally part of life. Like your two things are guaranteed in life: death and mistakes.
Yeah.
Like you're going to make a million mistakes, own it, learn from it. And, you know, that's why I'm here today is I might have made mistakes thus far, and I want to try to navigate this the best way that I can, because I'm definitely not the first. I'm not afraid to admit that I don't know how to navigate this situation.
And that's wonderful. I love that about you. That's step one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not acting like you know everything, and then apologizing when you do something that's not correct.
Yeah.
You know, and he's too young right now to even express himself, but as he gets older, if you had me as a stepchild, you're in for it, because
I'm lucky. He's a sweet little boy.
Yeah.
He's very, very sweet. So
our next person, there's two other people that wanted to share their stories. This one says, so don't be afraid to say it's too much for you. I dated a guy that had full custody of his teenage children. I didn't find out he had kids until our first date. But I was honest and said I didn't want to be involved, and I didn't want to parent someone else's kids. They knew about me, I knew about them, and I helped out on a rare occasion. But the second one of them literally told me, you're not my parent, I was done with them. It's a lot to ask someone without kids to get to know your kids. Be honest and open about expectations and limits.
Definitely. Yeah, it's funny. One of my friends reached out to me on Instagram. I guess she had saw that I posted my boyfriend the other day, and then clicked his profile and saw that he had a kid, and she was like, oh, so you're dating someone with a kid now? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, knowing you, like, I know how well you're going to love that kid. She's like, cause you could choose, like this woman saying, like, I could have chosen to not want to
I'm
be
not
involved.
subjecting myself to this. Yeah.
And she's like, you know, she calls them bonus parents. She's
Yes.
like, I have bonus parents. I'm so thankful for my bonus mom. And she's like, knowing you, like, you would be a great bonus mom. So she was just kind of saying, like,
and that's how it should be.
yeah,
That's
like
exactly how it should be. I really, really wish I could say that about my situation, that my bonus mom, and listen, I don't want to take away the years that she took care of us, because there was a time where we've lived full time with my dad and her, and she did the best that she could.
Yeah.
She was there day in and day out. So I never want to take that away from her. I think just knowing that there's other things besides washing clothes and cleaning, and
definitely.
you know, there's the emotional part is so important.
Yeah.
Leave those clothes to pile up, but you need to like connect with that child who gives a shit about the dirty clothes.
Definitely.
I'm appreciative for that we had a clean
How
house.
many people of our generation we're connected with? Not many.
No.
Yeah, for
This
sure.
is why this has to change.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would say I have I have a very good emotional connection with both of my parents. So
That's great.
And that's why you're so balanced.
Yes.
You see what can happen when you have two parents that raise children together.
And I'm telling you, that's
You get this. You get Linden.
Yeah, that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
This is what we've been talking about this whole time.
Yes. This is our protege.
This is what you get when you're raising children like in a healthy
And that's
way and
and it's
environment.
never too late to start. Like my situation, Linden has been in my home. She's lived it. She has seen
times,
it.
yeah.
She has been part of it, the good and the bad.
yeah,
Sadly,
definitely.
you've been there for some bad for my kids.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been easy at all. But you know what? You can change
We can turn it around.
that.
Yeah.
My kids, I laid in bed with Jamie last night for almost an hour and a half. She's struggling, you know? And when I say struggling, it's not a negative thing. She's hormonal. She's a teenager.
13.
Everyone her age is struggling.
She's going to be struggling for
or
the
is it
next.
us that's struggling to deal with them?
I mean, I say all the time, no one could pay me enough money to go back to middle school.
Never.
Middle school is a nightmare. It's
Or high school.
So hard to
And then,
parent through these stages.
Yeah. Well, and like I have friends, that are teachers now. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm a middle school teacher. I'm like, why? Why would you do that?
So painful.
Well, I was lucky because I lived in Europe my middle school years, and it's so different there.
Yep.
Yeah, way better.
That's how we should all.
I mean,
be.
it was
And I love
amazing.
to hear you say that, because
It was
could you
amazing.
imagine if you were going through everything you were going through and living this year?
No, that was like an escape. That was fun for me.
That's
like
so
going
nice.
out. It's just different. There's more freedom. I don't know. The schools here in the U.S. are shit. Anyways, that's another conversation for another time. But yeah, they're just different.
If you're able to point your kid in the direction of that they want to go, I think their whole life is happier, because school is such a big part of kids' lives. I mean, they're in school just like a job, 9 to 5 pretty much, same as adults are in jobs. And so they always say, like, if you're not happy at work, you're not happy in life.
Yeah.
And I think that applies in schools. If kids are being forced to take all this stupid crap that they don't understand and don't get, it's just like, oh my God, like, it's just exhausting.
And that you're not going to use.
Yeah. And if you don't feel good, like if, I know me, I am the worst at math. I can't do fast math. I can't do
You
algebra.
and Jamie. I'm like, don't worry, baby. All you got to do is, hey, Siri.
Yeah. What's 10 plus 10? Yeah. No, I know. And
You don't have to memorize
It's a
that.
totally different world these days.
Siri
honey.
didn't exist for me. But I'm horrible at math. And I just remember my mom paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars every single month for me to have tutors so that I wouldn't cry every night, because I was failing math. And if I was failing math, I couldn't do sports. And if I couldn't do sports, I wasn't getting exercise. I wasn't getting serotonin to my brain. So I was sad, and sports were such a big part of my life growing up.
Wow, that was powerful what she just said.
Yeah, she connected all
the
of
dots
She connected
on emotional well-being, the serotonin.
Yeah. I mean, just think, like, if you're miserable at work, you come home drained. I worked in criminal law. I was drained every single day when I came home, because all I was doing is giving myself and giving myself and giving myself to all my clients, and I didn't have anything left at the end of the day to give to anybody.
You had to go home and recharge to do it all over again.
To do it all over again, Monday through Friday, from 9 to 6 every single day. And so,
then also, it sounds like your home life was really awesome. So,
I mean, of course.
so you had a safe place to fall
exactly
when you came home, which is
I
so
was very
important.
lucky. Yeah. I mean, of course, nobody does everything perfect. My home life wasn't always rainbows.
Of
but
course.
My parents did a really good job, because I think, my mom came from kind of a messy divorced family. So I think she's like, okay, I'm going to do this right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think you guys are in the same place,
trying.
like you're like,
I failed.
no, you did not.
We're
No,
still.
I did. I'm going through a divorce. I
Yeah.
failed in that. I tried
But I'm saying, but you're trying to break
everything.
the cycle now.
No,
You're
yes.
like,
I failed. I can't be good at everything.
I know, but you're not. But
it's not a failure. I mean, you have to think how much you learned from your.
Yeah.
I was just being sarcastic.
I'm like, don't
just-
use that word.
Right, but that's what she was. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
in reference
I see
to
what-
she was
I
saying.
see
but,
what you're saying.
But yeah, I failed in that department. I did. But I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
I've grown a lot.
That's all stuff you can be thankful for,
Ah,
See the glass
always.
half full, not half
Always.
empty. And, you're positive painting with Polly like me. So, we're going to see it half
You guys
full.
I need to hang out with you all. You guys are rainbows and kittens and puppy dogs.
But that can be dangerous too.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah, I definitely
talked
have
about
rose-colored glasses about this whole situation, because I just want everyone to be happy. And I know, especially coming on here, it's just not going to be that way. And I just have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And I just have to let it go.
You have to be aware, and you are, because you're talking about it.
Yeah.
So as long as you're aware of what you're doing and you're consistently updating that, you're going to be fine.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to be fine. Even if it doesn't go well,
Yeah.
it's going to be a great experience.
Yeah.
One last input before we go. This person is speaking like me from the perspective of being the child.
Okay.
So I have a slightly different opinion as the child of divorced parents who brought both some toxic and some healthy relationships into the picture. Dating someone with kids can be tricky. You have to date them both, but at the same time, watch your boundaries. When it comes to the other parent, never say or do anything negative about that parent, and keep your distance when issues arise. You also never discipline that child. Minor corrections are okay, but actual discipline needs to be up to the parent.
Definitely.
Also treat them like their activities, issues, and opinions matter. I hated it when I caught my parents dating. I would have rather that they just came out and were upfront about it. So I guess they were dating in secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all about honesty, and you cannot over communicate. Like when we had changes growing up, there was never like a sit down. Let me tell you these, because changes are going to happen. You're a kid and you don't really have choice.
Yeah.
I get that. But having the conversation and telling the child, like, this is what's going to happen, and we're going to move, and you're going to live with your dad and your stepmom now. And, conversations
Can't imagine.
never were had like that with us. It was like, this is what we're doing, and it's happening next week.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
No,
So communicate with your child, communicate with the dad, your boyfriend. And hopefully one day the mom will come around. But honestly, it's between your boyfriend and her.
Yeah.
I would not even insert myself in anymore.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, I attempted to because I thought it was the right thing, and maybe that was my mistake. But I think now that I've said my piece, I'm more like morally okay with stepping out of a situation because I feel like I've said my piece. I did my thing. She knows, or at least I hope she knows I have good intentions, and that was really my only.
So get where she's coming from.
That was my only.
Who do you get?
Linden.
Yeah.
So get where she's coming from. Like sometimes you just
Have to say something.
so you can move forward.
Yeah.
In a positive or whatever direction, but it has to be said. And when people say you should never reach out, no.
Yeah. I mean, and I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, I have to do this for me, and I was like, none of this is about me. Like, this is not about me. This isn't even about you and her. It's about the kid. Like, we should all be team kid,
Yeah.
And so maybe it was a little selfish of
No,
me.
it sounds like you just wanted her to know your spirit and where you're coming from. So she doesn't think like you're just like this random girl in her child's life.
And she over there getting her popcorn popped.
Who's popcorn?
Remember how we were saying we just gonna get some popcorn and sit back and watch? I said she's over there popping her popcorn.
Yeah.
She's sitting back to see what the hell happens with y'all.
Yeah.
She's like, are they going to stay together?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. And I totally get that.
Sit down and get your popcorn, girl.
Yeah. I mean, she's protective of her child, and she has every right to be. So,
Right.
And I'm not here to threaten that or unprotect, her kid.
Well, I just want to give you your props, not because you're sitting in front of me, but you're handling this in a mature way.
Well, thank you.
I wish
surely
most
think so.
people going into relationships with someone who has kids would come in with that same mindset.
Yeah.
Because kids are kids, and we have to be the adults, and they're going to be brats, and they're going to test you, and they're going to test boundaries. And even if you were the biological parent, you can't take it personally. You just have to understand, where's this coming from? Let's have a conversation and be that
So much easier
that
said than done, even when they are your own children.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, this goes for all children, whether they're biological or not biological. But it is tougher when they're not biologically yours.
Absolutely.
You have to come from a different angle. And, he's young. He's 3.
Yeah.
Oh, this could turn into a beautiful story.
That's so much-
seriously,
that's so
because
much-
she's being mature and talking about it. This could end up a beautiful story. Not all stories end poorly,
Yeah.
and not all people were meant to be together.
Definitely.
It sounds like it was a very short relationship, and a child came out of it.
Yeah.
And that's great that he has found someone like you, because there couldn't be a better person to step in.
Well, thank you.
So I wish you all the luck.
I do too.
And we will be here for you.
I need the luck.
And if you want to come back on and give us an update, in a few
Well, I had a few
months,
people reach out that wanted to
talk about this.
Yeah, so if you want to come back,
Definitely,
I
we
have
can
somebody who has
revisit this.
succeeded it. And,
Oh, really?
Really? Sweet friend of mine. And I remember her going all through it. I think I was telling you the other day. She went through it. It was hard, but
And I would love to hear from someone.
Success
Like,
stories.
yeah.
And she brought in great bonus parenting.
Yeah.
And I haven't talked to her recently, but just knowing her, it's a success story.
Yeah.
There are good women out there that
Yeah.
do understand boundaries and do respect other women. And we're all capable of doing it.
Yeah. Definitely. I hope so. I have positive hopes. So I'm trying to stay positive.
The only thing that's going to get positive back is putting it out.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
Lyanette, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much for
was
having
fun.
me. It was so fun.
All right. Until next time, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you you so much for listening to Virago 24/7. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and please give us 5-star ratings. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Virago24_7 and on Facebook at Virago24/7, and just connect with us and share your story. We'd love to hear from you.